Law enforcement officers and first responders can have special concerns when dealing with military veterans suffering from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and a new program is trying to address those issues. Our correspondent Carol McGrath sat down with Elizabeth Price and John Rocca from the Veterans Administration to learn more.
Have trouble with post-deployment issues reintegrating, but the reality is a lot of folks get home, and once that celebration dies down, realize that they're having trouble in various areas of their life. Maybe it's returning to work, reintegrating back with their family. Maybe it's something like sleep, and if they're not getting good sleep, it's affecting other parts of their functioning. Could be untreated post-deployment challenges like something post-traumatic stress, anxiety, depression, substance abuse, or some physical injuries that are causing chronic pain, maybe a head injury that's giving the person trouble functioning at school, remembering things. And the VA is a huge system, so they might be going in multiple different directions trying to get the care they need. So part of what we're trying to do is recognize that some of those veterans are not necessarily connecting with services very early or recognizing what might be going on with them. So we're hoping through the training we can educate as many people as possible that might encounter veterans, such as first responders. They pull someone over, they go on a call, what some of the triggers are for veterans, what's available, and what type of services they can get connected to help their recovery. Unfortunately, we do see veterans that will say, I'm fine, I'll just get over this. They don't recognize it as something that they may need support around, or feel unwilling to ask for help due to stigma or feeling that's a weakness, and kind of suffering alone. And then they may come in to the VA through a crisis situation or a detox. And so we know that there's an opportunity there where the first responder can really help de-escalate that situation, get the veteran connected. And I also see a lot of clients who are looking to become police officers and firefighters. So they're trying to figure out the balance of maybe some of the challenges that they've had during deployment, but also figure out how to be an effective person as a first responder, which just continues to add stress and add stress.
Right, because so many first responders seem to be veterans, and obviously that's the situation with you. How do you connect with them and help them through that process?
Real life experience. And you're absolutely right. Many of our first responders are veterans. And what we found is that they leave one brotherhood, one uniform, and they go to another department it's got that same tie that the military had. It's disciplined. It's structured. It's a brotherhood or a sisterhood. It doesn't matter what color the uniform it is. Right. It's still an organization of we got your back. And what my part of the program is I'm telling them real stories that I have encountered over the years, being in, whether it's been military or civilian or now at the VA, because I deal with veterans daily. All I deal with is veterans. So we recognize some of the things. So what we try to do is try to get that training so that they can understand that it's not always a criminal event or a criminal episode. It could be just the lack of possibility of over-medication or under-medication, or just a traumatic event, an anniversary of time where a comrade died, or a problem with the spouse at home, or missing your child's birth, or first words or first steps. We take that seriously, and we understand that is a problem, but there's a solution to it, and it's just basically by talking.
And so is that the key to de-escalating a situation when you're training these officers? Okay, you got a call, somebody might be suicidal or acting violent, but really it could be just a situation where that person just needs help. They need somebody to calm them down.
Right. I think we're trying to plant the seed of thinking about all the potential contributing factors to whatever might be going on for that individual that they're going on a call for. Certainly, we're not trying to say, this is a get-out-of-jail-free card.
Right, which I know that some people have said before. It's interesting that you mentioned that.
Sure. But more so, here are some things to consider. So we use this scenario a lot of pulling someone over who might be driving erratically. Well, the officer at first glance might see someone swerving in the road, maybe jerking around a little bit in their car, or excessive speeding, blowing through stop signs, and their initial thought may be this person's intoxicated. But, for a lot of our veterans, driving is one of those battle mind skills, we call it, where during deployment, driving in a war zone is very different than driving here on the Mass Pike. And we know when someone is trained to drive in a certain way to keep them safe in the war zone, they come home, they land on U.S. soil, that doesn't necessarily switch off like a light switch. Right. So though they may not be intending to drive that same way, their body's conditioned to do so, and their intent is to keep them safe. Though the rules are different here. The road rules are different. The threat level may be different. So it's a tool to just keep in mind. There could be a larger context to why that person may be driving a certain way. It doesn't mean that they still might not get a ticket, right, but they might be able to at least understand what might be going on for that driver.
And you can speak to this from both sides, being a veteran and a police officer now. Do you feel that this would be extremely beneficial, obviously, for many police departments to take part in, but also for the general public to be aware of and to understand?
Absolutely. It's just they're coming from a battle zone, and like Elizabeth said, it's not always the ticker tape parade when they get home. They may come home and there's nobody here. Some of our soldiers come home to jobs they were supposed to have that are not there anymore. Mm-hmm. So I think the biggest thing we're trying to do with the program is to break the stigma of mental health, because as soon as people hear that so-and-so was treated at a mental health facility, they are automatically assuming the worst, and that's not necessarily true. Just a lack of sleep, like Elizabeth mentioned, just the fact of not being able to sleep is actually technically, clinically, a mental health issue. But that doesn't mean the person is faulty or broken. It just means that individual just needs some help and some guidance. And mental health is the biggest stigma for our returning soldiers and our current veterans and all people to get treatment, because they don't want to be labeled that way.
Okay, thank you so much, Lieutenant, for joining us, and Elizabeth as well. This is a great topic, and we appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
At the Bedford VA. I'm also a veteran, an OIF veteran myself, 2009, 2010. I think that this training was amazing because I feel like I could relate to it very well. I had veterans that experienced those same PTSD symptoms, and the intervention methods are very good to have and to know.